If you're anything like me, you started podcasting because you love creating content, not because you love uploading episodes, digging through analytics, or trying to figure out how to grow your audience. That's why we built Power Studio. It's the platform we use to publish our podcast, distribute it everywhere, see what's working, and keep everything in one place. No juggling tools, no wasted time. Just create your episode, hit publish, and let Power Studio do the rest, whether it's your first episode or your 100th. Power Studio makes podcasting simpler, smarter, and a whole lot more enjoyable. We're just getting started and we'd love you to come on the journey with us. Head over to powerstudio.au and give it a try. Power Studio, built by podcasters for podcasters.
Let's get into it.
It's power time. Get ready, let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Powertime. I'm joined here with Brent O'Toole and Matt Noble, my long-time host now. It's been a couple of years, Matt. How's everything going? What are you up to? It's been a few weeks since we put the last podcast out, but you're in New Zealand last week, yeah?
I was.
Yeah.
And is that the nicest thing you can say about me now? Long-time host. I've been doing this for a while, right? It'd be a nice little compliment every now and then, Scott. You got to keep me around, but no,
that's it,
good.
Man. That's all you get.
My good friend Scott, all right? I'm just the long-time host, all right? I see how it is.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
all good. I'm kidding. I'll do the intro for the next episode. How about that? I'll show you how it's done, and we'll start to progress from there.
Okay, I'm going to hold you account to that. So next episode,
no. I'm only joking.
You're
I'm
locked
only
in
joking.
for the intro.
Anyway, we've railroaded the podcast within 30 seconds, which is something that I'm quite good at. But yeah, good to see you, mate. Good to see you, Brent, as well. I have been traveling. I just got back from New Zealand Friday last week. I was in Brisbane yesterday for a day, and then Gold Coast next week, Melbourne. There's a lot of interest in AI at the moment, obviously, as we know. So let's
cool.
discuss. But we are joined here by a special guest, Scott. I'll let you introduce Brent.
I'll do that. So, and we've got a big docket today, right? Like lots of things to talk about. It's been a really interesting start to the first half of the year. I just got back from Seattle as well, so give our listeners a bit of an update on how that went. But Brent is an amazing solution engineer in my team and has a world of knowledge around quite a lot of industries, and also a racing car enthusiast. Brent, over to you for a quick intro before we kick it off.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. And I think I'm like the third host, like almost at this point. I think I'm racking up like the most guest appearances on the pod, but which is pretty cool. I won't lie about that. But yeah, Brent O'Toole, solution engineer. Yeah, Scott's my manager, great manager. You know, I got to say that on the pod so it gets out there. But no, he's an awesome manager.
Everything works, man.
Anything works. But yeah, solution engineer looking after amazing intros done, Scott. Like, you know, regardless of what Matt says. But yeah, I look after everything in the AI business solutions area at Microsoft. So everything Dynamics, and more importantly, new role with new FY is looking after our CCaaS customers. So really getting hands-on with our contact center offering and diving deeper into that space, which is a really exciting time to be in that space. It's probably the one product stack that we have that's really going to change the game in terms of like what current vendors offer. So it's pretty cool to be on the cutting edge of how AI is going to change that industry and make customer service better, really, at the end of it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic role, mate, to jump on. CCaaS, for those who know, is contact center as a service, hot product in market right now, and definitely something no one's going to vibe code anytime soon. So going to be around a long time. So we've got some focus on it in Australia at the moment with two solution engineers focusing on that, which is awesome, which is Brent and Ethra. So our customers can leverage those guys to really go deep on that platform if they want to.
Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, it's a cool role, man. So, and I think, look, at the end of the day, we kicked off to a new financial year at Microsoft. So a lot of planning, a lot of things going on. So been really busy doing a whole bunch of stuff around that. My team's grown out to now 26 solution engineers as we're in the hunt for the new solution engineering manager. So my life's all about one-on-ones at the moment and podcasting. So, which is cool. It's a fantastic bunch of people. So I'm really happy to do it, but it'll also be nice when we go back to a standard team once we've hired someone. So, which is cool. But let's get into the podcast. So I just spent a week in Seattle connecting with engineering. It's our internal event. We podcasted about it last year. It's called MCAP Start. So it's where we have our sales kickoff. Everyone kind of comes together. And wow, what an interesting week. Some of the top themes, definitely, token maxing, so costs. How do we manage tokens? That's really, really hot right now. The auto modeling, all this kind of stuff. What does it mean? Keen to get into that. That's a great topic. The Copilot Studio re-engineering to the new product, which launched on the 3rd of August, and there'll be a whole bunch of Ignite updates around these products as well. The continuation of the Power platform too. So Canvas apps, Dataverse, all this stuff's not going anywhere. So it's going to be around for a very long time. We all have speculated on is Code Apps a new app? It is probably the new app, but the old apps don't go away. So, which is great news. So they're actually getting investments. And, really just the general theme was all about how we could improve productivity right now. And I kind of get it. At the moment, if you think about it, AI productivity is a really cheap thing to go after. It's really easy. It's a human in the loop activity, so it's low risk. If you muck up a PowerPoint, or if you create a document, it's not quite right. The human who's doing that will go and create a new version of that. So that's really low risk, as opposed to a business process when we're doing a KYC or something and someone gets the wrong letter, right, for their onboarding. So it's a lot more rigid. So I feel like while we get personal productivity for the next year is going to be really solid, but business process automation after that will really kick in as our governance story gets really strong. Agent 365 maturity now, it's really, really good. It's coming along nicely, that product. So I think that'll be the key to enable, really clarity on agents. So really exciting week, I thought. Always good to get back to the mothership, I will say that. So
it's interesting that you talk about like I've been having conversations with customers about personal productivity AI versus enterprise AI. So like I'm keen for you to come back and share kind of what the Microsoft point of view is on that, Scott. But it's definitely something that's like, should we automate this business process with AI, or should we just leave it to like the M365 Copilot co-work kind of stack? It's definitely something that customers are thinking like very deeply about, like what do we actually automate now versus like what do we create as a process, and what do we leave the individual that's doing the work to do. So yeah, interesting space to be in at the moment.
It is, and Matt and I have spoken about this a lot, and it looks like Sati's got on your bandwagon, Matt. And I tell you what, I will say also,
as you should.
Yeah, we'll get into Kimi 3.5 in a minute, but my prediction around China catching up and surpassing the models is right on track in the middle of the year. So our predictions episode, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But to your point, Brent, I think right now when it comes to like business processes, people want real clarity and guarantees in an AI model that it's not going to go rogue. I think that the OpenAI news last week that they had an agent go rogue inside of their containerized environment by looking at the source code and creating vulnerability. Like that doesn't do them any favors. I don't understand how that allowed that to happen and why you broadcast it so much you want to do it, unless it's trying to add a bit of fear out there. But the enterprise don't want that. They want, really secure AI that's not going to go rogue, that they can contain. And, there's also right now, like if you look at the modeling that's available, it's all pretty capable. Like, I don't see a world where we're using Frontier for this stuff anyway. I think open source and locally hosted LLMs is where it's at.
Yeah,
I really do now. I mean, look at that. Look, Kimmy, how long has it taken? 6 months to bridge the 6 months gap on Fable versus that model. And all of us are using like Opus 4.8 and Fable now 5.6 on OpenAI. And it's a really capable, it does everything I want it to do. I'm not sure why I need more intelligence. I'm not intelligent enough to ask a question to an intelligent LLM anyway. So you could kind of, who's going to drive it? It's going to be the only way is agents driving the LLM, that have intelligence themselves.
I think where it gets interesting, Scott, is like the concept that's been pretty hot topic at the moment around token maxing and bringing all the the dashboards in companies and Twitter burning through all of their token and AI spend for like the first 3 months of the financial year. Like I think where Microsoft and Nvidia, that recent announcement with the Spark chips and the CPUs, like I think the local hosting is really going to be
great.
where the developers get the ability to have no capacity constraints in terms of what they build, and then you'd use Frontier for kind of the stopgap or the productionized review this code and make sure it's all safe for deployment into production. Like I think that's kind of the world that we're heading into.
Yeah. And Matt, back on your point that Satya confirmed was correct, which is why are people using like $100 token a month for 1 million tokens, like costing models to do a business process that Power Automate could do. Like,
Yeah. We're
is
seeing
this
a lot
not
of
crazy?
customers. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of customers just want to do stuff at the moment because it's AI, and a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that they're bringing to the table isn't AI. It's a workflow that they could have done 5 years ago, which is great for us as a consulting business because we're going, hey, we can do it, but it's not AI. This is how we're going to do it. This is how much it's going to cost you, and all of that kind of stuff. So we're finding a lot of use cases now. There's a lot of pressure to innovate from a lot of organizations. A lot of C-suites have targets to move stuff and leverage AI and adopt AI and all of that kind of stuff, but we're seeing that it's this classic case of what tool when, like, is this an automation? Is this, a non-deterministic workflow? Is this an application? Is this that? All of that kind of stuff. So we've built a number of tools to kind of assess like what the right fit is within the Microsoft ecosystem. Of course, we are a Microsoft partner, so we don't cheat on the mothership, which is good. But even that was a learning experience because we experienced some token maxing on our own internal system, and then Stephen Jelov, Stephen Cullis, who are my bosses, they were quite interested to see the spend in our dev tenant when we were turning on all of these automated intake agents that were producing out all of this kind of stuff. And it was a bit of a shock to my system as well. So we've kind of scaled it back. And it's just a classic, like you said before, what model, where do you need that frontier model? Do you just need an Opus 4.8 that can provide the task, all of those types of things. So it is a learning. It's almost been a bit of a chef where you put your little ingredients in and you get the end outcome. It's just kind of that. It's bringing that on the journey. We're seeing a lot of AI solutions are almost like that.
I don't know
building
how many
the building blocks
I've had with customers around like right tool, right job. Like, and it goes from like the automation concept of like, is this AI automation or is it deterministic automation? And then then it's right model for the right job. Like, and it just extends in that space. And that's been a lot of education with customers as well. Like where I think I've said it to you, Scott, like I feel like we're on the frontier of like where we are in terms of knowledge and understanding, and customers are still like doing the fast follow kind of creeping up, but they're still relatively behind. And we're like, a lot of the sessions that I'm running with customers is like, what is AI still?
Yeah.
And I feel like we were doing that 3 years ago as well, but it seems to be a bit more like prevalent now with costs being like one of the major considerations.
I'm running a lot of those at home as well at the moment. What is AI to friends and
partners
and all of that kind of stuff. So I think I was running one last night in Cronulla. So
It's such a fantastic time though for our customers right now where they've got so many tools available to them to go and do things. But use AI to create. I mean, one of the cool things is about, and I'm super excited over DevBridge, right? Like I've spoken a little bit about this. It's a customized MCP that, our internal teams have built that's hopefully going to be available to partner and customer soon. But using MCP CLI tools with AI to go and create the deterministic process, that's where it's at, right? Like you don't have to have a generative kind of token maxing process to go and solve for something if we've got tools to do it that can't do that. So I think you're going to see a lot more of this cost optimization. Obviously, there's back-end challenges in running multi-models and all this kind of stuff for large, customers to do that. But I mean, you think about it right now, you've got Anthropic and OpenAI. They've only got they're a one-trick pony, right? Like they've got really one revenue stream right now, which is tokens. So we step forward 2 years from now, Dell, Lenovo, Microsoft, everyone's dropped all of these local LLMs has dropped 128 gig into all these laptops to run local LLMs. All of a sudden, all your personal productivity is going to go to the desktop, like what Brent was talking about. So, with the RTX announcement, for those listening that don't know, Microsoft signed an agreement with NVIDIA for their new RTX chip, which makes a lot of sense because NVIDIA has saturated pretty much the enterprise market with GPUs now. So if they want to go after a new market, they have to go after the desktop. There's no other market for GPUs. So if you really look at that, then we all end up with an LLM on our desktop, basically doing all personal productivity and coding. Like that's a massive consumption risk to OpenAI and Anthropic right now, unless they offer a free model tomorrow, but then they're making revenue off it. And then if you look at the enterprise, like we've spoken about, at some point, you're not going to allow frontier models out to customers because all that's happening is that you're giving a super intelligence to regular people and it's pointless. What's the point of that? So we're not trying to solve, we're not Elon, we're not all trying to get to Mars, right? So most of us are just trying to get our days done and help us in our job. And you don't need Frontier for that. So no one's going to want to pay the Frontier tax on that. And so then what happens is they've got to kind of do something where they go, well, we'll give you Frontier, but we'll reduce it if we think you're a threat to the model, which is what we saw with Anthropic recently. So then we all get watered down and censored on what models we can actually access because they don't trust us with the actual ASI or AGI. So it all waters down to, well, I'll just host an open source model, in a data center, in a cloud, or on maybe even my own tin in my own data center, and I won't pay any token maxing at all for that. So it's a really interesting world that we're about to step in. We could see this business model that grew in 12 months to be, tens of billions of dollars shrink in the same amount of time. So interesting world. No predictions from me on that, but
I think like Benson came out like earlier in the week, I think it was, in an interview that I saw, and he said, the magic with AI and using AI in the enterprise is the harness, right? Like, is it like what's the user interface that you're using it through to do the job that you're doing?
Yes. Yeah.
And at the moment, I see like the human still as the harness to kind of decide where to pick like what model for what job. Like the models are getting better at kind of doing things behind the scene as an orchestration layer. But I think once you have like local LLMs on your laptop, like you're definitely the harness. Like at that point, you're deciding what to use when. And like I feel like the education and the knowledge in that space and that domain, like it's a whole new job market, right? Like, and I think we've seen, Scott, like, the Armageddon of SaaS apocalypse and job loss and, AI taking our jobs and automation in the market.
Yeah.
The media kind of driving that fear hype cycle. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be like harness engineers essentially. And we've heard new terms in the last couple of months of like loop engineering and all these other things that have come out that didn't exist. Yeah, 3 months ago. And you go, okay, there's like, that's a new skill I need to get. And even like our training plans at Microsoft for this financial year, like I think there's one course that's like 56 hours of learning agentic AI. So you can see that there's going to create a lot of jobs out of that in itself because that's domain specific knowledge versus, just what we know and have used like since we had the Industrial Revolution, really.
Yeah, I think the whole job loss in the tech industry thing was just a fupa to get people to spend more on the frontier models, right? Like
bit of sales spin.
Yeah, I haven't seen any evidence of it at all. In fact,
yet, but let's see. Like I say, this thing is moving and evolving so fast. It could be 2 to 3 years down the track. Yeah, but I agree. I thought there'd be mass redundancies now already. I haven't seen that this year. You know what I mean? We're similar at other organizations, but I don't know. This stuff is moving and shaking and evolving by monthly. So let's see. But I agree. I think still SaaS is in trouble. Like even Anthropic put out a Shopify replacement last week and it's freaking incredible. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
So Shopify is done. From what I saw, like you could literally stand up your own e-commerce web store. That's insane. Market trends, everything like that, fully AI infused in a minute. All right. So
here's the thing, mate. So if you're running a SaaS company right now and you can pick your poison on
resign.
No. Why? Like this was big last week in Seattle. Like if you're a SaaS company right now, why? What reason on this planet would you trust Anthropic or OpenAI with your most precious data, which is your? You wouldn't, right? You'd have to be crazy to go, I'm just going to use this to do all my coding. Like they're watching that stuff, right? And that's a great example of your business is just going to get taken over. And, back to what I was talking about at the end, they have to do this, right? Because if your entire revenue stream in your product is tokens and token economy goes down to zero, you have to have other revenue streams to get people to, or other benefits. And it does come down to the harness or the IDE or whatever you're using. Like this is going to be, what you're paying for in the future is, that 60 or $100 a month is that ecosystem, the apps, the harness, the IDE, whatever you want to call it.
I see it as like a carbon copy of like what Apple did in the early days, which is like they came out with the desktop, then they came out with the iPod, then they came out with the iPhone, and then they built the App Store. And the App Store was where they kind of started to make real like cash flow, like jumps in how they do stuff. Like iTunes as a store and all that sort of stuff. It's the platform and the kind of the e-commerce behind it that you can take a clip on app developers that are publishing through your platform to make, revenue.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, if you play it out, if you subscribe to my theory, which is I don't think we'll see AGI or ASI out to regular people. It'll probably go to science and all this kind of stuff. That means we're nearly at the end of our model updates, right? Like another year, we'll be pretty close to, or 2 years, we'll be pretty close to, that's the final kind of intelligence access that we'll get access to. And if there's no jobs being ultimately replaced within that 2-year frame, then that's pretty much business as usual from what I can see until the robots come anyway. So I think, at that point we'll know in the next year or two what we're going to get access to. But if you play it out with OpenAI, it's a personal product too. I love OpenAI, right? Like I love ChatGPT, I love Cowork and Copilot, all the tools, amazing, right? Great time to be in the industry. But OpenAI to me is a consumer product, and I think that they have to go down devices. They have to come up with a phone. They have to come up. They're going to go after Apple's stuff, and I think that's their next revenue stream, and I think they'll be really successful at that. But I think for Anthropic, they don't have the market. They're the enterprise. They're going to go after people's IP, right? So I think it's something people really need to consider when they're choosing what models that they want to put their tools into. And I think that in the future that having like the Maya models that got released by Microsoft, so your own fine-tuned model, that's your frontier. Like, it doesn't matter how smart it is, but if it doesn't understand your data, and I think locally hosted where it's going to be, you're going to host a Maya model in the cloud. So if you play that out in the next 2 years, like Google, Microsoft, AWS are the clear winners out of this AI race, right? Because everyone's just going to host local.
I think like for enterprise, it's like the customers don't care what model it is. They really care about solving the problem securely and economically. And I think the Maya stuff plays into that with the locally hosted, it's all on your device. And then within the Microsoft tenant of all the models that we give you access through in Foundry, like that is in a secure, sandpit that's not going to have any issues really, like as long as it's all set up securely, but like you're not leaking your data to like model vendors really at the end of the day, instead of going directly and using their API keys. Like that's kind of the moat of Microsoft, I guess, at the moment is, in my opinion, is like run it securely in your enterprise. It works with everything. And even Scott, there was a few announcements last week on like Work IQ, Fabric IQ, Foundry IQ, like all the smarts that we already have in the Microsoft ecosystem. Context is king. So like knowing what I want to ask and the context of me asking it in the recent documents that I've looked at, my recent emails, me emailing Matt about a certain opportunity, like knowing that information behind the scenes without me needing to actually like type it and prompt it. That's the magic sauce I see in like AI actually assisting me versus like me needing to, feed in all these documents, all these emails into a third party model that's on a different cloud and then, give away my IP essentially, like, and break a lot of my contractual obligations to Microsoft. Like that's why I use the Microsoft.
Your manager's on the phone. You do realize this, right?
I think you're bang on the money. Like the biggest unlock for 2026 and is, definitely work IQ. IQs, right? Like putting your system of record accessible in a secure enterprise fashion to your AI modeling. Like that is just, I'm shocked at the unlock that is just for your day-to-day work. It brings us on to headless. Salesforce has announced headless. We've been doing it for years. Headless to me, for those who are listening and might not understand the term, it's the ability to be able to access your system of record without using the native UX, right? Like that's, if I think about it and summarize it in any other way, that's the way I think about it, right? So one of the things we architected at Microsoft on the platform was the ability to be able to abstract the UX from the data platform and put all of the logic into the data platform. We called it Dataverse. Among other names, it was Common Data Service in the original one, which is my personal
It's still
favorite.
way better name. Way better name.
Still a way better name.
I don't know if the person that renamed is listening. Anyway.
Yeah. So go back, Common Data Service. So, headless to us is now co-work on top of Dataverse, right? Like build me an account plan. Show me my pipeline.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think
it's a marketing journey.
I kind of put
ridiculous.
Like headless, Scott, into like two buckets. There's like the Salesforce announcement of headless, which is, it's basically just an API and maybe
Team version.
And then there's like Work IQ and our like headless version that we've had since day one that we went onto the cloud with API driven architecture and MCP access now through Dataverse and Cowork and Work IQ. Like all the data that you do around the CRM is already in our headless version with AI headless versus Salesforce. Like, so I think it's an interesting time for them to go so hard on the marketing front with this concept of headless, but like they don't have the additional context of how I work outside of the CRM. Like they're doing Slack meetings, yes, but not every enterprise has Slack. Nearly every enterprise that I work with has Teams. So like they're using Teams as a channel to get information and put into the CRM, go and summarize my transcript and put notes in my CRM. And that's just a prompt or an automated workflow that you can set up in Scout, like, which is a really good kind of topic as well to kind of go into with our announcements there. But I see it being a totally different headless in the two different products that are out there on the market. You know,
I'll give you my take on it. Salesforce, an amazing company. Mark Benioff's done an amazing job over the last 40 years of building that company. But one thing that they've never gone after is that personal productivity on the desktop or data fabric until their latest acquisitions. And I think one of the things that we've kind of earned the right at Microsoft to do over the last 50 years is have that conversation around data fabric, teams, you know, how you communicate with people and these kind of things. And we've had enterprise teams like mine and the rest spend years and years and years working with the top tier customers in Australia, 50 years in fact, convincing them that, you know, we can give them productivity gains, real productivity gains by using this Microsoft tooling. And it's been wildly successful. Like a lot of customers use this. So headless to me is kind of grabbing your system of record and exposing that to all of that tooling, which is something we've been talking about for many years. It's not
just another context layer that
it's not anything new.
Enhanced with, you know, the personal productivity layer of the individual.
That's right. So I think, you know, all strengths to Salesforce to be able to come up with a good, you know, use it as a marketing term and really push forward with that agenda, but it's something that's not foreign to us at all. So, yeah, really interesting topic. Changing the tack a little bit here. Got to say, Scout. Did you guys watch the video I posted on LinkedIn about how that came to fruition? It's an untold story, right? Like I'll take our listeners through it. So basically, two guys looked at OpenCore and said it'd be great if we can use that at Microsoft in our internal systems. Sat down, vibe coded something. Got another two guys over the weekend. Got another two guys involved, so there's four. And 6 weeks later, it's announced that Build is a major product for Microsoft.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't
crazy.
Does
Satya like
me.
being like, look what we've got, and then Satya's like, this is a product now. Like, let's go. Like,
that does not surprise me. Yeah,
absolutely incredible for those guys that did that. And you know, when you look back, you kind of go, it's a bit of a no-brainer. We had to do it, but.
I mean, it's a fast track for promotion. Like straight away, you went from like senior principal dev to like CVP.
I didn't see that, CVP, but obviously it is a fast track. But I think at the end of the day, it shows how quickly we can get a product from being, you know, an idea into full production. And you know, when I look at that pace and how that works, if we can do that at Microsoft, which is, for those who are probably not aware, it is extremely difficult to get a product into production and get all of our customers going. That's a great product.
Legal, risk, security, approvals, all of that
everything,
kind of stuff.
Right? You name it. Like, if we can do that at Microsoft, why are we doing 3-month evaluations on technology and 6 months proof of concepts? And we're going to do, you know, we're going to go out to market and find out what's best of breed and spend 12 months figuring that out. And then we're going to go and do a POC. And, you know, 2 years from now, we're going to have a CRM system. Like, seriously, I don't understand it. You know, now is the time to run and go. If you're a customer and you've go, hey, we need a system of record for this outcome, like, just go and see the vendor and just go, let's go do it. You know, the whole world is investing in free consulting for our customers. There's paid elements of it as well. But forward deployment engineering is just hot in market now, right? Like, you know, if everyone's putting forward deployed engineers out there, our customers just be going, oh, let's just go, right? Never been a better time.
It changes the mindset, like fail fast, but like get something into prod pretty quick, right? Like that works, like learn
Yeah.
through ideation and the old Scrum methodology of like 2-week cycles, like it has its place still, like for the enterprise projects to bring everyone on the journey, because change management's really like the big thing now. Like that's hot as anything at the moment, is like, how do we bring everyone on the journey without, the fear that the market's kind of putting into it as well. But that ideation cycle's just sped up. Even internally for us, it's like vibe coding a demo like overnight for a customer the next day and showing them, and they go, oh, cool, I'll have that, thanks. And it's like, well, that's within our product ecosystem and our tool set, but you could do this tomorrow as well. Like,
yeah.
We did that. We picked up I guess a failed implementation. I'm not going to say names and stuff like that. But say someone came in and spent 4 months messing around with something. We basically vibe coded something in a day, put it in front of the customers, just and go, hey, we can do this in 3 weeks. And they nearly fell off their chair because they've been going for 4 months, never ending cycle. But that's because our business is set up differently. We don't have all this legacy. We're all about this new tools, code apps, AI development, all of that kind of stuff. Because it doesn't disrupt our existing business model. So we're in a really good position in market. We could just come in. I'd rather do 100 apps in 3 months than one massive, never-ending project.
Yeah,
we're getting through
100%.
so much more
add
stuff.
the value, incremental value.
We're having customers are really great. We're really resonating because we're just getting through so much opportunity. Yeah, we're not coming here, it's $400,000 for this project. I'm like 50, 80 grand. Like, let's go.
Here's the other crazy thing, right? Like, just for the listeners, think about a vibe coded app. Everyone on this call has an app right now sitting out there customers can use, right? Vibe coded. You're going to maintain, unless it's on some kind of infrastructure as a service, but generally in the enterprise, you're going to have business continuity plan, BCP, right? Someone has to go and do that. Probably with AI, it's a lot faster now, but it's got to be done. You got to think about your CI/CD. So how are you going to develop this thing? What stack are you going to use? Is it Jenkins? Is it Azure? What does that look like, right? You got to think about your data strategy. What is it? Fabric? What are you going to do? What database? All this stuff, decisioning, right? It has to be done. Then you got to think about dual layer redundancy, right? Like dual country, dual state. What is it? Is it going to be synchronized across? You're going to go set that up. You got to think about backup and recovery. That goes into your BCP plan. Like, who cares if you can vibe code a UX? Like, seriously, that is the simplest part of an application. It's the back end stuff that you have to really put thought into. You can let AI go and do some of this stuff, and maybe it'll save you time, but it's still a human thing, right?
And I think have you seen the meme that's like the image of the iceberg, and it's like UX at the top, and then underneath, obviously the iceberg's a lot bigger, and it's 100%. Everything you just mentioned, Scott. It's like, your back end systems, like what does it need to integrate to? Like, what's your CI/CD? Like,
100%.
It's the canary, like,
and data security, data sovereignty, masking, like you name it.
Yeah.
In enterprise, there's a lot to do in an enterprise application, right? And that is the iceberg. Or you can go and spend $30 on a Power Apps license and vibe code to your heart's content and produce an app, and it doesn't cost you any tokens other than the create. And you can build as many as you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, there has never been a better time.
It was like one of those.
To go and build on the Power Platform.
For one low price,
seriously,
per user per month, you get
Power Platforms
applications.
We're getting so many new apps coming through.
That $30 a month so quickly building hundreds of apps, right? Like, just go crazy. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So, that's my take on it right now. Like, we've got MCP right across the whole platform now. You can use natural language to build everything.
There's skills as well, GitHub skills I'm seeing. I think I was talking to Nathan or Fu was sending me some stuff the other day, and they were saying you need to start looking into this stuff as well. And I was like,
skills
are
hard
to keep up.
The next hot topic for like how that comes into Scout and how you can use it with Cowork and like all the things that we've got in the M365 Copilot stuff. Like, I was playing around with skills with a customer the other week, like just to see if we could do an account plan using a skill, and we pretty much got something pretty spun up pretty quickly. The one problem that they had in particular was data. Like, where are you getting the data from? Is your data all in like the Microsoft ecosystem, or is it external on other vendors like Snowflake, Databricks, like all the other providers? Like, it was the data. Getting the data was the hard part. Making the skill was the easy part. Like,
well, here's the crazy thing, Brent. Like, you go and build on Dataverse, like build a code app on top of Dataverse. Yeah, Work IQ can access Dataverse. The app you've just built is
It's
now
already
a
ready, like
headless app.
M365 Copilot to call on. Yeah.
You haven't had to do anything, right? Like this is now
That's
fully
insane.
integrated into everything you do at work.
But no, not many people know this as well. There's an education piece from customers. They're still in basic prompt 101 and all of this kind of
Right,
stuff.
good
So
prompts, like,
there's
yeah.
a 12 to 24 month lag for people and businesses to get humming of a lot of this stuff.
I guess I'm biased because I see the tech every day, a little.
Yeah, same. I'm like, why
But
are you
I
using
look
this
at this
stuff? I
stuff
haven't
and
even
go,
heard of it.
why are people doing this? Like it's so cost effective, and you're not paying. Everyone has all on consumption, right? Do / cost in co-work. That's consumption. Like today, you can get power for a static license cost, right? And there's no bill right now on that. So, why wouldn't you just do that? Go and transform, enable people to build faster.
I think like Satya said it a few times, and he's like got up at keynotes, like internally, externally, and been like, "We're disrupting ourselves." Like, and I think every business at the moment needs to take like that approach. Is like, how do we survive? Like in terms of like our competitors are going to do it if we don't, and that's kind of the gap of revenue that they'll see reduce, right? Like how can you be more productive and reduce your operating costs? Like that's kind of the key component. I'm seeing a lot of customers like getting really tight on at the moment is like, how do we reduce our operating cost?
Yeah, 100%. We're going to see some cool stuff come out at Ignite. I think that's going to really play out some of the stuff we've been talking about. So
when's Ignite again? October, isn't it? October, November?
Yeah. It's our Power Play conference. Yeah.
It's in Chicago. I'm going to try to go this year, actually. I've never been. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm already booked in for Power Platform. I'm actually presenting at Power Platform conference this year. So, there you go.
Cool. Awesome. What are you presenting?
I'm not telling. No.
Cool. Website, like, or they probably haven't put the sessions up yet, but
yeah.
I think they'll be shocked that I'm actually attending the conference this year, not at the pool parties or something like that, or the local watering hole.
Yeah, last year, Matt, let's hang out. I saw you for 2 seconds, like trying to get into the
I forgot my ID. I was really sick last year, actually, at Power Platform conference. I actually went out with Justin Graham. That was good. Good time with Justin. So shout out to Justin.
I tried to catch up with Justin last week. Actually, he's super busy.
I imagine.
So yeah.
Shout
out to Justin if he's listening.
Yeah, and I mean, him went out for a good night, which was good fun. And but I was really sick. I remember that night. But yeah, I'm presenting about Kua with Ken from product team and one of our customers on that Grable use case. So
nice.
I think we're doing a couple.
One thing, speaking of Kua, one thing that's really pleasantly surprised me is Scout and Playwright. Like,
yeah,
how good is that thing, right? So, Scout, for those listening, we spoke about it earlier, is a autopilot, what we call autopilot, and it's the ability to be able to really just programmatically create an agent via skills that autonomously in the background does stuff for you. It's a band-aid fix for a business process, I will say that, right? Like
it's open core for enterprise, like is how I look at it.
It is, yeah. But if your process is so bad that you need, to put an automation over it, then you probably need to look at your system of record and go, do we need to improve it? Where are the issues? Definitely seeing, like when you get high activity on a system of record, if it's not designed for an agent, can cause issues. So I think there's architectural things, but from a personal productivity, I find it great, right? Like I do my expenses, it'll go and do that. It'll use Playwright to look at the UX and automatically fill out forms, all sorts of things, which is great. So, I think that product's really going to take off from a personal productivity point of view. But man, you want guardrails, right? Like I could imagine things going wrong with this product so easily.
I reckon I got a hot topic here. Like Matt, maybe an idea for a new role. Go and look at people's Scout skills and look at the systems that they're talking to and what they're doing, and be like, hey, maybe that needs to be an enterprise, automation or workflow or.
Well, you can do this in Agent 365, right? I was pleasantly surprised doing the Agent 365 training, bigger training, Brent, and seeing what it can actually do, So I think Agent 365 is the enterprise harness to our agents, for sure.
Yeah, we've got a product in market about Agent 365, so I've tasked Nat, who does a lot of our governance stuff. So we've actually called with Jared today, actually, about that and what we're going to do with that. So I will keep that in mind, Brent. It sounds like a good idea that we can leverage some of that moving forward. So, yeah.
Well, it is good analytics if you're looking at, your employees and they're continually creating automations to go and do stuff. with agents, it's like, well, do we need to look at that system of record to make it easier to use, or do
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
I think people kind of classifying now, is this a co-work thing, or is it M365 Copilot, or, is this a researcher or a sales agent? Like, should the
Well, there's no
process
single
drive
view
better?
about what. Imagine
Yeah.
like a front door and it automatically kicks you off to where the task should go to. That would be super cool. Hey,
Yeah.
this is a Copilot task. Well, hey, you need to leverage Copilot, so co-work, or this is
Yeah,
Scout,
that's kind of what I was saying
that
before.
would be cool.
Humans the harness still, like at this point.
Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
Brent. Like in the
Yeah,
scenario for personal productivity where your UX is M365 Copilot and it's redirecting you to a bunch of agents,
yeah.
you're still making that decision.
Instead of a model router, it's almost a tool router within the Microsoft ecosystem at what tool you should use based off what you're trying to actually achieve and all of that kind of stuff. Because a lot of customers are still quite confused. Oh, is this this? Is it this? You know what I mean?
think,
all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with Scout, right, like, is that it's doing stuff that just like most people don't understand, right? It'll spin up code to go and do something, or it'll, if it can access, if it's been, and let's face it, everyone sits there and clicks approve. Does anyone sit there and go, I'm going to build this automation in, I don't know, Claude Cowork, and it comes up and says, do you want this to proceed? And you go, no, actually, I'm going to deny that,
It's
right?
like that button in The Simpsons, press the any key. Just,
has anyone ever done that?
Yes.
Everyone's just approved. It's like that, on The Simpsons, that bird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The bird. Yes, any key. Yes.
But the person that approves my expenses just hits approve. So
that doesn't happen, Brent. That does not happen.
Everyone's a tight ship.
If anyone, I've got to look hard at yours. Yeah.
Less travel in the new role, I think, is the rule. Like
national role.
Yeah.
So I think, no one's clicking deny. So everyone's clicking approve. So I think having those secure guardrails in place, and like customers, that's what customers should be thinking about right now, is they should really be thinking kind of a year or two in advance, right? Like that's how everyone in the industry has operated on Moore's law. Now we're operating obviously on scaling laws. It's like, where do we think in 2 years things are going to be? Definitely autopilot's going to be a massive thing, right? So what scaffolding do we need to put in play right now to be able to support that? And how big a project is it? Definitely our token maxing is going to be a lot. So how can we get a culture in the organization now to spend less on tokens and use deterministic processes like the Power Platform over and above a generative process, right? So I think getting that culture kind of mindset right now is important. And then thinking through, do we need Frontier for that, right? Can we use, just for my app, Power Studio, right? Like I went off Frontier. I've gone to 4.0 Mini. And the token burn is like, it's a tenth the cost, right? So, thinking through now what model for what task is really crucial. And
do you start on the lowest model then, and then slowly increment up?
Yeah,
is that like a
the
behavioral
A/B
shift? Because at the moment, all the devs, they go, oh, what's the best model? I'm just going to go straight for that one.
We're thinking about it too, right?
You. Yeah.
So the new Copilot Studio Orchestrator is 30% more effective than the old one at token burn, right? So, like we're thinking as well, and we're going to see applications reinvented that were years old. Like we're going to see that, right? Because, you can't throw AI at an old application and expect it not to be really hungry on tokens. It's just that's the nature. The application hasn't been designed with AI readiness. So now it's about how do we optimize that, and what does that look like? And that's going to be really big, So so I think this is our conversation for the next year or two, is more readiness and customers going, well, how do I get ready for autopilot? What does that mean? Yeah,
great. We've got some up.
Sorry, Cameron. Yeah.
I'll leave it for the end of the episode. We've got some big news at GetAi. We just hired. I think it's coming out recently. By the time we got this podcast, it will be public, I think. So, I don't know if you guys have heard. I know there's little whispers going around, but we're very lucky. Do we announce it?
Well, you can announce whatever you like, mate. It is your business, your decision.
We managed to get Fu Shen. He's joining GetAI, yeah. So he'll start on us in 3 weeks, which is super exciting. I think his podcast will be out in 2 weeks, but I'm very excited. I've been working with Fu for a number of years now. So, watch this space. So just another, we're trying to form the Avengers squad, would be the way that I term it. Or Real Madrid, when Florentino Perez went and got all the good soccer players together and all of that kind of stuff. So it's leaking out at the moment, but it's a huge gap for us. But I'm super excited to work with Fu. I know he listens to this as well. So, looking
Fu
forward to
Shan
it. So there you
Wu,
go.
Fu Shan Wu is someone that, for me, ultimate respect for, right? Like,
same.
globally, one of the top people when it comes to Powerful, and all around nice guy as well. So,
Absolute legend. Yeah.
it's a fantastic hire, Matt. Well done to the GetAi team for doing that. And obviously, he's on the next podcast, right? Like,
He's like the oracle of
Yeah.
edge, like
yeah,
He's the oracle.
gee, there's no question he needs to be on the next podcast as
It's part of his employment contract, Scott. So don't worry. He's
yes,
a regular coming
guest.
on here and talking
Third
to us.
host.
But yeah.
If you
Fourth
think-
host, Brad. We already have our third host.
Yeah, that's
so
right. Yeah,
we're not booting you off that quickly, mate. Come on.
If you think about, the biggest deployment in town in our space, like, Fusion's been responsible for all of it. So, at some point in the back end, orchestrating things, influencing engineering, like all of it. So,
putting servers in data centers, like like he's been there.
We've been in the
massive.
trenches on many late night calls on Woolies and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a fun journey together, and now we get to do it together at Partnerland. So it's good. So
yeah, amazing job there, Matt. Talent recruit, you guys are hiring the best talent at the moment. So that's a bit of a rock to the market right there.
Forward to that. That's been coming out on socials on LinkedIn. Let me tell you. So that'll be a good one. So yeah. Anyway,
So
I digressed.
You did. So looking forward, I think over the next few months as we lean into this, what are you thinking, Matt, is going to be focused for GetAi?
Key customers at the moment. I was actually at a customer in Brizzy, literally walking around their whole organization, just figuring out what their business did. I can't say which one, obviously. I'm trying to bite my tongue. They said it then because I'm a bit of an oversharer, but I'm doing quite good considering this is recorded. But we're running a lot of sessions at the Innovation Hub at Microsoft. So working with Nelly and Robin and the team from that area and Cos and all of those guys. That's quite successful. Similar to that, running a session, getting something in the customer's hand that same day. I think that's super powerful. And then turning around an application or an agent in 2 to 4 weeks. Get something in front of their hand. I think Melly describes it as MLP, the minimum lovable products, and not MVP. And how do you get out of this constant cycle of death by POC? POC just sits there and nothing happens with it. You know what I mean? So how do we just go, as I said before, Brent, just go, fail fast, go, all that kind of stuff. So having a lot of success with that at the moment. Still having a lot in the enablement space, like how do I use Copilot? How do I use this? Like what is an agent? So a lot of educational piece, a lot of baseline governance. I think Agent 365 is going to result in some further governance coming in. I'm also excited for the launch of the new Copilot Studio. I was chatting to Nathan behind the scenes, and Nathan's super pessimistic as we know with new products and techs and platform, and he was singing its praises, which to me is the biggest green tick that I can hear of any new product that's coming out. So he reckons it was really good. So I'm looking forward to getting our hands stuck in that and actually build production Copilot Studio agents. I think that's pretty soon to come to GA. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, August 3rd, I think, is the date for GA. It'll be released in a blog. We'll see that. But it's I saw the demos last week as well. It's really good. It does.
Yeah. I'm excited to get the team. Like I say, I didn't realize there was a 30% reduction in token costs as well, which was also great for customers because that was a bit of an issue with the standard CPS. So hopefully that's also going to result in
I don't think anyone, I caught up with the CVP last week and who's looking after the product, and I don't think anyone knows those stats, right? Like,
okay.
It'll be part of the marketing campaigns and things that go out, but I think, massive groundswell on that. The token economy is kind of new to people, but it is going to hit. This is going to be the new metric for every tech company moving forward, and people need to get a handle on it, right? Like, and it's hard, right? Like, it's you particularly with a generative chatbot. I think that's probably the most challenging license evaluation that you can do, right? Like, how much is it going to cost for this chatbot and it's generative? Like,
it's just another shift in how we went from you selling tin, Scott, to cloud. Like it's just that for AI. Like really, at the end of the day, moving from per user, per rack, per whatever model to it's consumption now.
It's the AI billing model, right? And look, I think at the end of the day, when you've got generative chat and people having conversations, like how do you measure a conversation? It's really hard. I think we're going to get a lot better at it. Like customers are going to get a lot better. We're going to get a lot better, and with metering in product and all these kind of things, but it still is a hard place to go and value. And you've got to kind of value it against human capital as well and customer service capital, if that makes sense. So, it's not really outbound at the moment. And Brent, you and I have spoken a lot about, I think there's a massive unlock for outbound AI, but most of it's been focused on inbound. So, hey, I don't know my credit card number or I need to change my address. And, he just goes off and does it and says, hey, congratulations, your address has now changed, right? And you haven't had to talk to anyone. So what does that cost for a person to go do that? So that's what you're weighing up against. But once we go to outbound, that's really interesting, right? Yeah. Like starting to call down customers.
Scales out, once you've got agents that are kind of, doing the upsell, the cross-sell, the marketing awareness, like even for I look at the Oz text that we had the other day, like that's an outbound, emergency service like that. That's critical for people to understand how important that is. Like it's no tinfoil hats here, but that is crucial for bushfire areas like where I live. Like we had a fire 2 years ago that was literally at my doorstep. Getting a text message like that, great. Now I know. I could see the fire; it was very clear. But
that's a great example of an outbound emergency alert, right? So I think you combine outbound with sales and all the other needs.
It doesn't necessarily need to be just revenue making. It can be better customer service, proactive customer service. In my opinion, is where a lot of the businesses need to head to build trust and rapport back up. I think it was Four Corners. Was it Four Corners? It was 60 Minutes, I think it was, on the weekend that I watched with Alan Joyce, and how that was all handled, and Qantas has lost a lot of faith and all that sort of stuff. And it's interesting to see now they're on the rebuild journey of getting trust back and building it with customers and building that up. That's going to be crucial.
That's the unlock, right? If you take Qantas as an example, they lost my bags coming back from Seattle. So, but from Sydney to Melbourne. So it's odd. So I had to go by.
I made it to the country.
Long story, right? It was an epic flight. Ended up missing my connecting flight. Had to get on a Sydney instead of Melbourne and usual stuff, right?
You didn't tell me this.
Yeah. When I got to Seattle, when I got to the airport, they said your flight is under maintenance. And I said, we basically sat there for 4 hours waiting to get it fixed. And then by the time they got it fixed, basically, and scheduled us on a flight, we missed the Melbourne flight. So anyway, long story short, I'll fly into Sydney, check out, get my luggage, put it through, it's just been 20 hours or whatever. And I get to Melbourne and I'm standing around the carousel and, you got to wait till it stops. So it's 30, 40 minutes. And my wife's waiting for me. It's my luggage is not here. So I go up to the counter and she goes, oh, yeah, it's been diverted onto another plane. And I said,
wouldn't there be an alert?
Send me a message to tell me my flight's delayed. I'm checked in. Could you not have just flicked a message over to me to say, hey, your luggage is not going to be on this carousel? Right? You know what I mean? That's outbound customer service, right? Yeah. That in itself is what's going to be a game changer for AI in the next few years, is how people harness that automated messaging for people to go, that's a great notification. Yeah, that's what I think. It's not someone ringing up and going, hey, I'm John, your new sales agent, and, would you like to buy a TV? It's not. It's a message that says, hey, you just spoke to John, the sales agent, about new TV. Here's an offer. Or, would you like to speak to someone else? Did you like the experience with John? It's all that communication after the fact that's going to be really rich. And no one's even thinking about it really right now. So I think, that's the unlock for AI outbound. We'll see. But Matt, for me this year, the whole team's focused on what you're saying, which is how do we get assets up and running in our customers really, really quickly? So there's a lot of hands-on keyboard kind of focus right now with the team, which is, can we just give customers the demo or the asset that we create? I mean, let's face it, the AI tooling now is creating way better assets than what any human has ever done.
Yeah.
So, I'd say the element of demo magic that we used to do, is deteriorating, and we're just building it, because it's
the flex range is
the customers go, can you click on that button? You're like, no, that button doesn't work. Click on my happy path. It doesn't work.
Yeah. You know what? It's more
this
like
button works.
Customer going. It's more like customer going, can you click on that button? And you click on it and go, oh, I've never done that.
Didn't know that would happen. I've had that happen, in a vibe coded app. I'm like, oh, I wonder what this does.
Yeah.
So, no, but I think the flex right now is Brent's experience, my team's experience in building applications and business processes for years and years and years and years with AI, connecting to a customer and then going, well, do you want the asset and just try it in your environment, right?
Yeah.
And I think that asset has never been better. All right.
Yeah,
In
I'm
the
seeing some
past,
cool stuff that your
a
team is
lot of
building at the moment.
demos, smoke and mirrors, a lot of demos, right? Like
Don't
we're
give
going to
away
show
our
you an
secrets. What are you
experience.
talking about?
Well, it's like we're going to show you an experience, but
Yeah.
you've got to then go and build that experience, right? And
all the
and the
partners
reason
got to
is,
come in and like pick up the pieces, like because they weren't there at the beginning of the journey, like just because of like procurement usually is the restriction there. Like, yeah.
Well, also we have to compress 6 weeks worth of dev work into a customer timeline. And for some reason, we got into this rut over the last 2 years, which is fine now because we've got AI. But prior to AI, where customers went, oh, we want to see a demo next week.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, we've just got to compress what we'd normally do in 6 weeks down to 2 days or 3 days. And so what happens? You do the demo, looks great, all the rest of it, tick the box, that's perfect. But you can't really deploy that demo. It's, there's
So
hardwired stuff.
and such on the rush, like just for the use case that you needed to show. Like,
You're just showing the use case.
whole process. Like, yeah.
But now, since December last year, it's so quick. We can build applications now where we're actually building a fully fledged business process or a BPF.
Well, I did that for that customer, Scott. Like it was a OCR, upload a PDF, extract the information, get AI to pre-populate fields in CRM, and then bang, like done, approve, human in the loop. Like, and I built that in a night. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
And I think that's the difference now is that, what we're building is all of that, goodness around experience and understanding the customer. You've been working with them for years, the processes, and then being able to just generate an outcome really fast and then go, hey, why don't you just try this in your dev environment? They go deploy it and it works, test it, it's great, move it to prod. Once it's been, tested. I'm still with all this vibe coded stuff or agentic engineering, you need to check it, but let's face it, you should have an AI agent checking the code. It's not going to be human anymore.
Yeah.
So, so I think that mechanism of if we give that to you, can you actually go and check it? That's probably where partners come in really strong, Matt, to go, hey, we'll take that code off Microsoft and give it, and we'll make sure it's going to fit within your stack, right?
The more we develop, we're also building our own review, scan, security, compliance, best practice in our own agents that we're using to develop our own tools. That's probably something that we can continually iterate on in our own tenant and stuff like that. So that's what we're bringing to the table. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's two options there for partners where there's a big flex, which is one is you do it all in-house. So you've got like 100 agents that go and check the assets, make sure they're okay, make sure it's fit for purpose, and then, probably enhance it because you've got more experience around that. And then you hand the asset to the customer and they go straight to prod. So there's no dev test, it's prod, right? You've already done that. And the other flex is you come and set that up for the customer and they can go and run it if they've got headcount to run it. So,
yeah, agree.
So I think that conduit and governance, what are the agents doing? That's really where it's at right now. I didn't think we'd be in another setup phase, but to your prediction, Matt, like we're going to see Matt's prediction every year, Brent, is on the predictions episode, as you know, is something different in AI this year. It's like, come on, man. But actually, I think
am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, probably.
Am I right?
We're going to see the sun sets. It's at a particular time this year.
A broken clock's right once a day, isn't it? So, yeah.
But I think your prediction's really saying Scout is probably, OpenCore is probably
I don't know. I've still got 4 months left or 5 months left or something to come through. So let's see. There could be something by the end of the year that sort of takes us by shock as well. So, yeah.
See how we go. But great conversation, guys. We've been talking for a while, so probably time to call it quits on it. Audience will be keen to get on with their day. But Brent, big thank you, man, for joining the pod.
Thanks, man. Love to come on.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. It's good to get your insights, and well done on the new CCAS role. And I know you're going to bring a lot of energy to that. So our customers are really going to benefit. So across the board.
Going to crush you, FY.
Crush it.
We got a lot of CCAS deals at the moment, Brent. So let's chat. Yeah, we got a few coming
we need to catch up.
All right, there you go. Look at that.
Doing
podcast and doing business. There we go. So that's what we want to do. So,
that's what we're all about, man. Like this is the podcast is for, so partners and customers can just do more and really stay on track with their technology strategy, right? And what they invest in moving forward. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll chat on the next one.
Thanks for listening to Powertime. Just a quick note before you go. The views and opinions shared in this podcast are those of the hosts and our guests. They don't necessarily reflect the views of GetAi or any other. Please hit follow on your favourite podcast app. It really helps us grow the show, and it means you won't miss our next episode. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Powertime.